Here we go. It's Sunday, May 28th, 2023. I'm having a genealogy meeting, Moss Genealogy and Research Group meeting. Pray that it will be positive for all who attend. Starting with me. Had a busy weekend. Yesterday, we went out to the beach. Family went out to the beach for a beach event by the Belmont roller coaster. Had a cookout, bonfire, just getting out, getting some fresh air, palm trees, like that ocean in back of us. We weren't at the ocean part, we were at the bay part. The ocean wasn't that far away. So we're working together, the family working together, different planning, organizing. My daughter Bridget organized it, and it was a good event. We learned some things, and we found some items that need to be improved upon. But you got to try, you got to get out there, and it's always good to have the family involved, the kids, the seniors, and in between. So I'm going to be focusing on a couple items. This reparations task force. Get my notes. I'm going to do an estimate on how they were able to monetize atrocity and come up with some prices. So I went through a few calculations, and I'm going to go through some today when it comes to that portion, the presentation portion of the meeting. So here's Jerry Jr. Lord have mercy. Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing, Pop?
Good seeing you.
You too.
Yeah. Seems like I just saw you about a week ago.
Yep. Yep.
Had a great time. Thanks for taking the time to join.
No, no problem. No problem.
How was the event yesterday with the birthday girl, Ashley?
It was really good. I tell you, we worn out. Woo.
Yeah, we saw some pictures.
Yeah. Everybody had a great time. Last people just left about 2 hours ago, so everybody's just they all sleep. Tyler's in there playing his game, but the baby sleep, my wife sleep.
Yeah,
It
we
was
saw.
a long 2 days.
Yeah, that was good though.
Yeah.
I know Ashley appreciated it.
Yeah, she did. She had a great time. Her and all her cousins and stuff, and her friends came. It was nice.
Yeah, we had a beach event out at Belmont Park by the roller coaster for the whole day, from early in the morning until they closed at 10 o'clock. I left, in the afternoon. But it was a event where right on the bay in the ocean, and the family getting together, Bridget coordinated it, and just working out the details and seeing how people reacted and expectations that were met and some exceeded and some weren't. How about
Mm-hmm.
that?
Cousins.
Hey, how you doing, cousin Wandell?
All right, and yourself, cousin Jerry?
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
Good, good. So I got both the Jerrys on here this morning, afternoon, huh?
Yeah, living color.
J and J.
Yeah. How was that
Uh,
Vegas trip, Wandale?
It was good, man. Enjoyed it down there. The weather was nice, man. Had plenty of fun and stuff, man. So, you hate to see vacations come to end soon, but hey, here's what it is, man. You enjoy it while you can and keep it moving.
He went last week, Jerry,
That's right.
to
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah, so I know I wasn't gonna get back early enough to see you on before you got up out of town and stuff.
That's okay. There'll be a time if the good Lord wills.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm actually I'm about to come down there before you get to Omaha because you're going down there for Omaha weekend or something like
Yeah,
that. You
yeah,
going
the
down there
Omaha
for this?
days. Yeah, I'm gonna be going
Yeah,
up.
yeah. I plan to be down there then too because there's a couple of family reunions going on down at the same time too.
Oh wow, we got to send you the meeting invite that we have. I'll make
Yeah.
sure Bridget sends that to you so you can see what we're doing, and we'll find out what you're doing too, so we can, find the common ground.
Yeah, because I was talking to my cousin Myron because he got a few little businesses down in Omaha, so he got something going on down there. Then I talked to Arlette as well, you know, and then my family they got some kind of reunion that on the Jackson side that they're trying to have. I think that first weekend in August. So then I know Arlette and them to have the Bryant Fisher reunion. I think it's the second weekend in August. So I'm gonna try to be there for all of that.
That's good.
You
I'm
know.
gonna be there too for extended period of time too, if the good Lord wills.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
we,
because I figured it's gonna probably be maybe a couple of weeks. I'm gonna try to be there for a couple of weeks,
well,
so I could try to catch everything and then
that's
see everybody
great.
at the same time.
That's great. You'll catch if you come early enough, you'll catch old Jerry Jr.
Oh yeah, you gonna be there too, huh?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's about 62 days away. I don't know. I might be there.
So you counting the days now.
Yeah. I know the day count. I tell you.
Yeah. See, I don't know the day count, but I got it. I got it in my text messages and stuff when the time's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So then so I got to start looking for me a plane ticket. Then rent me a car while I'm there too, so
Mm-hmm.
I have something to drive. I got to hustle everybody out of their cars as well.
Right.
I used to hustle my uncle out of his car, so. Uh, I figure I can, if I'm gonna be there a couple weeks, I might need to get me a little small compact car, something I can zip around Omaha, and that'd be pretty good because I ain't been there. Let's see, this year it'll be 6 years I haven't been there.
Really? It's been that
Yeah.
long?
Well, yeah. Let's see. Did I go after? Let's see. I went when Krista got married, and I wasn't too sure if that was before I sold my property or after I sold my property. Because I
Wow.
sold my property in 2017, and I went back there and I moved my car from out there. And it don't seem like it's been that long, but it's been a minute.
Wow.
I got to go back and check her pictures out there. That'll give me an idea about when I was down there for her wedding and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been at least 2016.
Whose wedding?
Krista, Arlette's youngest child, her
Oh
youngest
yeah.
daughter,
Yeah.
and so I know I was down there for that, but I don't remember what year that was. Because these times go by pretty fast, Jerry. You know what I mean? You're trying to keep up with. I can't keep up with time because I'm retired. Every day is the same day unless there's something to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you don't have nothing on your schedule, man, Monday and Sunday is the same day. And I tell that to people, and they might not really understand. I say, get retired. I said, them days they're just days. You have to have something to do in those days for those days to have something valid to say about that day. Other than that, they're all the same. It's like every day is a Sunday, it's a weekend, it's a holiday, every day is that kind of day, unless you got something to do. So I guess that's the benefit of being retired.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good, And then I was out Friday night celebrating my birthday, man. I just turned 73 Friday, so.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah. 2018 is the last time I was in Omaha, man, November. That's when Krista got married. 2018, November. I was searching for some pictures to see when that was.
So when's your birthday, Wandale?
May 26th.
All right.
2 days ago. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, thank you, cousin. Yeah, 2 days ago, man. Turn them 73 digits, man. What's up, Eddie?
What's happening, fellas?
Hey, how you doing, Eddie?
Today?
Y'all caught me out here. I'm out here shopping.
I know. You tell me that. That's good for you, man.
Pick me up. I need some sliced cheese.
Huh?
I need some sliced cheese for these hamburgers.
Some what?
Sliced cheese.
Oh, I don't see that place out here. So what's
Eddie,
on the agenda for today?
Eddie, thanks for sending me that email on the Freedmen's Bureau.
Oh, who?
You sent me that email that had that article on the Freedmen's Bureau. You remember?
Yeah.
That was very helpful.
Oh. I'm out here at the mall.
Yeah, you remember that? You remember sending it to me? The Freedmen's Bureau.
A link?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get it?
Yeah. It was
Okay.
helpful. It was very helpful.
Oh, okay.
What was your purpose?
To share it with you.
Yeah,
So you have something to talk about.
Yeah, that is we're California's task force. They're patterning their agency after that, Freedom's Bureau. The one you sent me, yeah, they're patterning theirs like that.
Oh, that's good.
I'm gonna send it out when the next time we get a chance, we'll talk about it. Like I'll have a presentation on it or for yourself.
Okay.
But it ties right into what we're doing. Looks like you're having a good time out there.
Yeah, my nephew and my niece came in from California.
Oh,
so we are doing some shopping.
Good. Well, let them know that they qualify for the reparations to be repaired. They qualify. You're gonna have to help them with to track their lineage.
Oh, that's no problem. That ain't no problem. I got it all under cover.
Had they mentioned anything about it to you?
No, they don't know about it.
Are they younger?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, hey, thanks for the information, man, and spend that quality time with your people. What's the weather like out there in Kansas City?
Very, very hot. I'm in the shade.
Wow,
Man,
Very, very hot.
that's saying something.
Huh?
That's saying something because we got like overcast weather down here, and it's like that. We got May gray weather, and we've had gray weather for a while.
you remember that, don't you? You remember that May gray weather, don't you, Eddie?
When what?
The May gray, June gray, the May gray weather. Because Eddie's from California.
Are you from
Oh, yeah.
California? Okay. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, he knows about this weather then.
He made all the gold. He got all the gold, and then he moved out. He came out here, got all the gold, and then he went on out of here.
He took it with him.
Yeah, to Kansas City and everywhere else.
That's why we can't get none. Thanks, Eddie.
Oh,
Y'all getting y'all share.
so we getting our share, huh?
So y'all throwing anything on the grill?
No,
Yeah,
man.
I will be tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I got to do. I got to do that as soon as I get these youngins back to the house.
You're gonna get set up, huh?
Huh?
You're gonna get set up the grill when you get home, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So who you got coming on other than me and Jerry Jr.?
Wandell's here.
Wandell.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what jumps
pretty
off.
Pretty hard, because it's a holiday. So we're lucky to get people on today.
Yeah,
They
well,
are shopping and doing everything else, trying to get stuff ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
that's cool. We're still gonna follow the plan. That's what I believe in. Follow the plan. And it'll be recorded, and then we'll go from there. So go on to town to your business, and then we'll get back with you. But thanks for that Freedman's information.
All right. Well, hey, I'll talk to y'all. Y'all have a good holiday.
Thank you, Eddie.
Tell Jerry Jr. he pledged the wrong thing though.
I was on mute. What'd you say? What'd you say?
I said,
what'd you say?
I tell him, tell Jerry Jr. he pledged the wrong thing. So
Yeah, okay, all right. I'm right here waiting on you. I'm right here. Don't start with me.
That's equalizing
right,
the background.
You too, Eddie.
Okay, take care, Eddie. Yeah, as I was saying, it's always good to communicate. I've had at times when, I've had, one person. I've had myself, and I still stay according to the plan. I still go through my agenda, and then it just prepares us to continue.
Oh, for sure.
And to see your faces, you two, that gives me, a lot of joy.
Yeah.
And you two being the kings and the fathers and the patriots of your family, some of this information that I'm sharing, it's going to, your family members are going to be calling on you for information.
Oh yeah, it's going to come down to that.
And they're going to have to come through you two.
Oh yeah, that too.
They already do it,
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Here comes a new member. So let's see what we got. Liddell Biden Taylor. This is who we got, okay?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Doing good.
Good.
Hi, Miss Taylor.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Blessed and highly favored.
Good, good.
Jerry still there?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are our cousins here. My maiden name was Knight, Linnell Knight Taylor, and Ben Knight is my dad, and he was from Millen, Georgia. And you showed up in my sister's DNA as one of our cousins, I think she said. She'll be on in a second.
Jerry, your dad still there?
My dad is deceased,
He's deceased. Okay.
but his family was the Knights from Millen, Georgia. My sister, when she come on in a few minutes, she's the historian on our side that does all of it, so she can run the genealogy back for you. But when she did her genealogy, I think Mr. Moss actually showed up, and I think he contacted her or
Yeah.
sent her contact.
And Mr. Moss, he's here. He's just not saying a dang thing right now. So I don't know what he's doing. He's ghosting us. Does he want us to run the meeting? I don't know what to do. I'm the son. He ain't said a word, and that's not like him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm the cousin.
Yeah, yeah. And he's gonna get going too. He can get it going too. My cousin one day, I tell you. I don't know what they doing. This is a different kind of meeting.
He's not on mute, is he? He's not muted.
No, he's not muted. He's just
No, he's not muted.
He's not
He's
saying
muted.
anything.
That's Phyllis.
How you doing, Phyllis?
I'm fine, thank you. How about
Nice to
yourself?
meet you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm new at this stuff, trying to get this stuff together. Mm.
And Phyllis and I are sisters. Mhm.
Okay.
I live in Maryland and she's in Virginia.
Mhm.
Wow. Maryland and Virginia. What part of Virginia?
I'm in Alexandria right now.
Been out there a long time?
All my life. Well, between Alexandria and Arlington.
Arlington. I got a chance to go there several years back
Oh.
on a motorcycle ride.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes, I went down there with a group called Run for the Wall. And Arlington, Virginia was their last stop on the run.
I can't hear him.
Went to the Arlington Cemetery.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's not
Yeah.
far from us at all. Arlington Cemetery isn't. Yeah. We lost somebody.
He'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you give Omega the message?
She said she had it. She said I thought
She said she had it?
I thought you gave it to her. You gave the link to her. I didn't share the link with anyone.
I think so. I know I was supposed to send it to Oliver as well. So you know how I am with me trying to send something, right? Woo! Mm-hmm. So they're waiting for other people to come on, or was this it? Yes?
Oh, that'd be something that my dad would have to answer. I'm just I'm just here to spend some time with him.
Oh.
Mhm.
I think because of the holiday,
Yeah.
participation isn't as high as it normally is, but there's usually a lot of people on here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you'll be
It's
able to meet
gonna
a lot of beautiful people. Trust
So
me.
who,
So interesting getting to meet you guys and to know you guys, because when we started doing the DNA and Phyllis was finding all these cousins and stuff, and we're like, wow, our family is larger than we ever thought it would be. Cousins and stuff that you just don't know, it's amazing.
so did they make the connection?
You talking to me?
Have they made the connection? Yes.
No, we just made it because it showed up in your DNA. That's
I know that. Oh, Lord, help me here. You were on before I was. I was just wondering if you had made if they had made the connection on to how,
no, I just told them that Daddy was from Millen, Georgia,
right?
right? That's
Mhm.
And so I don't know where the connection goes from there, how their family how the link runs back to Georgia at all. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna figure that out once the host decides to say something. Because I'm with you, Miss Taylor. My daddy's from Omaha, Nebraska. Now what?
Do we have some people?
And he's right here. He's right here. So we got that in common.
I had a pastor from Nebraska, and we used to always tease her, said, there are Black folks in Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Omaha, North Omaha, full of Black people.
We like, y'all up there too?
Yeah.
That's just like in Washington State, it was just like, because
Y'all
Washington State is few and far too.
Yeah. Remember Reb Mosby? We used to tease Reb Mosby. She was from Nebraska.
Right.
And
They ain't got no Black folk up there.
They
They had
didn't-
to import them.
They even had to import them.
Ah,
He said they had to import them.
So it'd be some of us there.
They had somebody that looked down
That
on
was the joke that we would always tell Pastor that she was an implant. She had implant up there. Like, I never knew no Black folks from Nebraska. Well, I was. I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
now Jerry knows more about how that your family's link comes through the Moss DNA, because he has probably more complete records of the family tree than anybody else does.
Mhm.
And I say he has a more complete list, so he could probably give you probably more of how your father was related to the Moss side of the DNA. That's where you came in at, right?
Right, correct. Because he was on there, and he was like the fourth excuse me, cousin generation.
Okay.
So, and it was on my father's side.
Father's side, yes. It's always the daddies.
Well, that's the way they roll,
Yes, it's always the daddies.
That's the way they roll,
Yeah, it's always the
that
daddies.
song
They
that
can
Papa,
have
you
themselves
know
with
how they sing that song, Papa was a Rolling Stone?
Oh, for
Well,
sure.
there you go.
That's real.
But with the military and all that stuff and being stationed in all these different places and all that,
Oh, yeah.
type of stuff, it was bound to happen. And my only regret is that we didn't get to know each other, regardless of what the circumstances were, before all of us are at the ages that we are now, because you think about how many cousins and nieces and nephews and stuff that have grown up and done marvelous things that we don't know about. We don't know them.
Well, the thing about it, we didn't see, if we had had the access to DNA profiling many years ago, it probably could have closed a lot of gaps, but we just didn't have the access to that type of technology.
Exactly.
You know, and that technology right now is what's bringing everybody together and putting everybody in touch with
Mhm.
people from all over the United
All
States,
over the world. Yeah.
right? All over the
Exactly.
world. Basically, those who are going to pop up.
Because my husband's family is doing theirs, and they just reached a couple of cousins in what part of Africa?
California.
Africa. Eugene's
Africa?
cousin
Yeah.
is from Africa, right?
Well, we got some people there on our genealogy on the thing too as well from Africa.
Or meet and greet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was from Africa, and she was and she came to the United States to meet her family here. Mhm. Yeah, so yeah, it's worldwide now. So it's interesting though.
Can your father hear? Can your father hear us, or is he just muted?
I don't
No,
know.
I could.
I don't know what he is. I don't
I
know
can-
what he's doing. I don't know what's
There he
going
is.
on with him.
I guess he's just taking it in. Okay, okay.
There he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he was just like sitting there. You know, it's like, okay, is he? Can he hear us or not? Or
Yes, I can.
okay. I'm just curious. That's all. That's all.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, cousins, for joining the meeting, and it's an honor to have your presence, to sit and just look at you and know and know that years ago our ancestors were close, and now we get a chance to see each other virtually. And cousin Linnell, could you introduce us to your husband, please?
He's back there eating potato chips. Where he at? Sweetheart, can you bend over this way? That's my husband, Eugene James Taylor.
Eugene. Hey, Eugene.
This is
What's up?
more family. Look.
We busted out the seams.
But they can't see him.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we could.
Oh, they
We
can see him because I sure can't see him.
Yeah.
From sideways.
Oh,
Well, let
dang,
them
I
know
had
that.
to turn it. I had to turn it sideways so I can get everybody.
Well, let them know
Okay,
that.
well,
Let them know that we appreciate seeing them, and
What's up?
there he is.
there he
Okay.
is. It's good to see him, and welcome to the family, cuz.
Thank you. And welcome to mine as well.
All
Thank
right.
you.
That's what I like. That's what I like to see.
Yeah.
Should I get off and call Tina? Because I'm quite sure. No, well,
You want,
She-
honey? Can you
she may
call me?
come on at 7 o'clock.
What'd you
Eugene
say?
gonna call Tina? Tell
You
Eugene to call Tina.
You have mine? You want my phone? Okay.
Miss Taylor, have your husband pass me some of them chips, please.
Do you like chips?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
potato
one of
chips.
them.
You know what? We all have that in common because that is our weakness, and my doctor
Yeah,
tell me all the time.
chips.
Look,
Here, open
stay away from
up.
those chips.
Open up.
Stay away from those chips. Tell me those chips.
It's so bad, and I know I shouldn't be eating, but we get our own bag. I'm like, don't be looking at mine after you ain't yours.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I have Linnell's name, and it's Phyllis, is it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is the meet and greet section of the meeting where they'll come in and check the technical difficulties or vice versa. If you need to contact someone, this is a portion that we do that. And then we just go on into the presentation portion of the meeting.
Okay.
But first of all, on the meet and greet, we want to have some brief introductions. We're going to start what it means to be at the meeting, or what kind of resources that who have you contacted, or what your purpose is for joining the meeting. Something brief, and where you live at. We want to know where you live at, and just any of your research purposes. I want to start off with my son Jerry Jr., and then we're going to go to Phyllis, Wandale, and then Linnell, and then me.
Okay,
Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Moss Jr. That's my father, who's the host, who's finally talking. I live in Long Beach, California.
Huh.
Father of two, 9 and a 16-year-old boy, and a 9-year-old girl. She just had a birthday party yesterday, so I'm a little worn out right now, but beautiful wife, Trish. She's asleep now because, like I said, we've been going pretty strong the last 2 weeks. Apparently, young kids get to celebrate birthdays 2 weekends in a row. I don't know where.
my daughter celebrate hers all month long of her birthday.
Kids did do it for a month.
There you go. There you go. So if you got it, a couple of dollars, and whatever you got, because I'm broke. But reason I'm here is to support my father. He's always supported me, and he continues to support me. And I've seen people come together and who didn't know anything about their family. And I've seen them come on here, and it's really emotional. And I'm just sitting back like, wow, who didn't have anybody? And then all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of people around, and then they're like, and I see how great they feel, how warm it feels. And it's just it's a blessing to actually see it happen. And then, because I saw when my dad started this stuff, and we was kind of looking around like, all right, Pop, something to do. And he kept going at it. He kept going. It kept going. He kept having these meetings. And then all of a sudden I get on there, and it's just, the screen is full.
Mm.
And it's like a domino effect. It keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. People they want to find people all of a sudden. They're happy, come on, bring them to me, come on. And then you're sitting around, and then sometimes one person is on one side of the screen saying, well, remember so-and-so, and then the other one saying, oh, I know that person. And then it's just it happens in real time is what I'm getting at. And when I have the time, I'll sit down for 2 hours, and it ain't about how many people who comes. I met you 2 today. You
Amen.
3. You 3. And got me some good chips. That's why I'm here.
Thanks, son.
It got a pop.
Appreciate that. Phyllis?
Yes, my name is Phyllis Knight Kaysen, and I reside in Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia right now. I have 3 kids. They're grown, gone, and out on their own. They have kids of their own, and then their kids have kids. So yeah, so I'm a great grandmother at that. I'm on here because I was invited by Mr. Moss, and with the connection, at first I wasn't going to go on there, and I'm just like, just somebody just, sending it off. But then I said, nope, let me go on here. And so I contact my sister, because we don't do anything without one or the other.
I told you, if he sent you a thing, find out who he is. Now, you the historian, that's your position you took up. Make the connection.
Yeah, that's it.
So anyway, I said, okay, fine, we will go on there. And I sent her the link, and that's when I sent you a message stating that, I had sent it to her and to get in contact with her as well. And I've been doing this for, I don't know how many years, but I'm always taking pictures. I always would take pictures. I mean, as long as I can remember, I've always been taking pictures and pictures and pictures. Now, we have an auntie that is 96 years old on my mother's side, her sister, and she's 96 years old. And she has some information too for me to, to get, and which is on that side. And that also links my father, because my mother, my dad, and stuff like that. So I've got to get that information. But every time I go on Ancestry, and I have set up all night long on Ancestry, doing Ancestry, I look up and I say, oh my gosh, it's another day. you know, because I mean, you just go from one thing to another thing and another thing, and it is just so interesting. And I'm just like last night, I was on there for until like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I started, you know, 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll get up and go get me something to eat and sit down and eat and constantly going through Ancestry. So I'm on here to find out our connection and you know, where it all lies at. And it's just, I'm just happy to be here to you know, to make the connections and to meet new family members.
Well, thank you for that
You're welcome.
statement. And did you mention that we were 4th through 6th cousins?
Fourth cousin. I think it was fourth cousin on there. Mm-hmm.
Well, I can tell you that there's a reasonable chance that percentage that we will be able to document how we are connected with some research and some time.
Correct. Well, what I've been doing is I've been just going back over. I've been writing down some names, some last names, and before they were married, and you know, maiden names and names, you know, back on my father's side, and see if one of the names, the last name, matches up with somebody in your name, and you know, in your you know, on your tree or something like that.
Well, again, that's a positive. You know, I thank you for taking that time, and you're interested enough to search and find. And with that kind of interest, desire to find a connection, the missing link, that's laudable. And once we both connect, we will be able to find that answer going forward.
Yeah.
I do believe that. Wandale, cousin Wandale.
Okay, my name is Wandale Jackson. I live in Los Angeles, California, but born in Omaha, Nebraska, like Jerry. I'm a father of two daughters, no sons. I have 5 grandchildren. I'm retired from LA County for the last 16 years. Jerry's my first cousin, and he's the one that really pushes this right here. And I'm in his tailwind because he keeps forging ahead, and I'm being sucked up in the back end of it. But he pushes for me to, you know, to do more, but he lets me do it at my pace and always let me know that he's there to help me along the way and plug in all the information. But I do know that, you know, he has the tree on our father's side, because his father and my father are brothers. And so he has that tree. So that is able to help me a lot. And then just seeing the connections with everybody else is going, how everybody else is really linked. And, you know, and I told him the last time, you know, even though the blood is red, the breakdown of that profile of that DNA, it really separates everybody from who everybody really is. Mm-hmm. And so has been really the blessing. And I've seen people on here that I never thought were related. But you know what? And I'll say this again. I've heard it time. White people used to say, y'all don't know who y'all are. And that has been a very true statement, because we have been robbed of history to not know who we are. We've been moved around, name changes, and, you know, everybody come through slavery. But you know, the blessing about right now with this DNA, it's charting a path for all of us to actually know where we all came from and who we're actually related to. So this is a blessing.
Thank you, cuz. Hey, son, what's it like hearing your big cuz story?
It's phenomenal. He's the best. He's a great man. He's a great man. And I'm honored to even say I know him, and then more proud, and then I'm related to him too. You know, it's he set the bar real high. You know, I got a lot to do.
We all got lots to do.
I got a lot to do.
You know, and the other thing about this is, like, I didn't meet Jerry till I was in my 20s. I had no idea that I had family because that part of my history was being kept from me for reasons. And it's after my stepfather died is when I found out that I had another family. I was 24 years old. I had two sisters that I knew nothing about, and a whole lot of cousins. And through that right there is where how Jerry and I connected. And we've been linked since.
First cousins. His father,
First cousins.
his father and my father were brothers.
Yeah, and I had never seen him. I didn't even know he had existed because I didn't know that until my stepfather passed. And then that's when all this came to light. But it's been a blessing because I gained a lot of cousins. I gained two sisters, you know, and another side of the family that I had no knowledge of. So it's been a blessing.
You know what, cuz?
Yeah.
They gained just as much, if not more.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
Linnell?
Yeah, my name is Linnell Knight Blyton Taylor, and we live in Silver Springs, Maryland, in Montgomery County. And I'm just glad to be here because I've always had a sense of wanting to know who I was and where I came from. As a young child, I remember my dad used to tell us that he was from Millen, Georgia. So as a teenager growing up, I wanted to go to Millen, Georgia, and see his part of the family, but I was forbidden to do so. And we'll get into the backstory about that later. But the fact is that I met one of my cousins at a Tupperware party, and she started talking about Millen, Georgia. And I knew it was a very small place. So I'm like, if you're talking about Millen, the same Millen, you have to know my family. And when I told her the last name of Knight, she goes, but I went to high school with them. So I told my sister, because she and I travel together all the time, I'm like, get your ducks in a row, because we going to Millen, Georgia. And myself and her got on a plane and we went to Millen, Georgia. And my dad had always told me that he had 14 brothers and sisters in Millen, Georgia. So I knew I had family there.
Wow.
So I needed to find them. And we went there and we found them. And surely enough, from that, we met I had an older sister. I always thought I was the oldest girl. When she told me she was older than I was, I ain't like that. But anyway, I accepted it because she was our sister, and everybody, and things just fell in place because they knew about us, but they didn't know where my father was, because when he left home, he was not able to return to Millen, Georgia. And so that was and they kept telling us that we was the missing link for them. So when we went back home to him, to that family, we've met them, and it was a whole banass of them, a whole lot of them there. So but it does my heart good to see it almost like come full circle, you know, and the circle shall not go unbroken.
Right.
Because our children's children need to know who they are and where they come from, you know, and the good things that so many things that have done. And I've got 3 daughters, 2 grandkids, and 5 great-grands. So.
Whoa, that's great.
Yeah.
Phyllis,
Yes.
what does it feel like to hear Linnell's story?
Oh, I was there right with her, right beside her. So most of her story, I was right there because we travel all the time together, and you know we are very close, even though we don't live that close, but that far away. We still communicate, and yeah. So her story is, yeah. So I mean, even though she's older than me, you know, we, you know. So I mean,
She's my baby.
She's the baby.
Yeah,
I have to keep her in line.
Okay.
Elizabeth and Teresa, we were just going through our intros, our brief intros. Elizabeth, could you please give a brief introduction, and then Teresa, please.
Hi, I'm
Hello.
Elizabeth. I live in San Diego. I was introduced to Jerry and a whole lot of other people, but I haven't been on in a while, and I'm just getting on briefly. I'm just going to listen, but um, I found out a lot of information and still learning, and it's good that we have so much in common that we don't really know how we're connected, but we're learning the connection, and I'm just thankful to be a part of it. Yeah.
Yes, I've met her, and we've had a few functions, family functions with grandkids together, and through DNA, we found out that we lived in the same city. So then
Yes.
we connected and building the relationship from there.
Mhm.
Teresa?
Hello, all. Wow, I think I've met Jerry about a year or so ago during the virtual Moss family reunion. I was one of the presenters that presented just the basics on how to use Ancestry and how to get started. And yeah, still researching and trying to help others. We're working on one, trying to help someone find their biological father. And we're doing that through use of the autosomal DNA match on GEDmatch and just looking at the DNA itself, trying to work the trees based on the DNA results, trying to work the trees back and find the common ancestor.
Thank you very much. She does a lot of research and also hosts meetings. She helped host a virtual family reunion. And there's a lot of work that goes into that virtually to host it. And she had a few presenters, and I was able to give a presentation on the moss migration pattern and how the Wynn family were related to the mosses. So we're working together. We're a team, and like you said, like she said, she helps with research, individual research, and she's using these different platforms in order to help people find their family. And that's a blessing. Time takes time, and these programs we have, they cost. So, my brief intro. My name is Jerry Brent Moss Sr. I was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, and I moved out to California in 1979, and working in the civil engineering business. And my friend played football for the San Diego Chargers. Johnny Rogers is his name, and he invited my wife and me to come out and visit. So before I came, I sent my portfolio and a few engineering companies. I went on interviews, and eventually one of them thought enough of me to give me an opportunity and relocated my family here. And I've been in California ever since. I've seen an article from Qualcomm, the Qualcomm chip maker, Jacobs is his name. And on this building, it says, all this started with an opportunity. And that's pretty much my life story. An opportunity has helped me and my family grow. And now I'm reaping the harvest and meeting each one of you here. It's just it's like the harvest. And I'm so humbled that you take the time to participate in these much needed virtual meetings. So does anyone have any questions for me first?
I have a question for Wandell.
Yes.
Did you take the test?
Yeah, I did. I sent it in.
You didn't get it back?
Yeah, I got it back. And my sister came up the first one on my chart. It was my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jerry, he opened up his profile and found me, told me that, so now I have work to do, is what I have to do now. There's work because I need to fill in a lot of the blanks because there's my mothers and there's my brothers and there's my sisters and I have children, grandchildren. These are informations and inputs and things that I'm going to have to do, and then also get them tested so they can be inside this DNA profile other than just by name.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yes.
started building your tree out?
Not just yet, but I'm going to. Going to. So Jerry told me to call him, but he's going to walk me through it. So that's going to be the best thing because I get some firsthand experience as to what I need to do to get it started and get it right without and minimize mistakes. Because go ahead.
That is very important because I'm finding out when I'm on Ancestry, I'm finding out that they, on some of the reports, they put like night, they got an S at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now it's night, K-N-I-G-H-T, and not nights. But they have a lot of, and then they insert the names in of the father and the son and the grandson. All three of them have the names of the same. And people, you know, they inserting the wrong individual into, you know, like my father's name, and then he had a son named that too, and then his son had a son. So there was like 3-4 different generations that was going down, and they've inserted the wrong individual into the name of the and so I'm just going back and like, oh my God, this is wrong, you know. And then when you look at the kids, you know, how many kids there were for this person and that person, you know, so.
But the name the name could have been Knights prior to your name. There are a lot of different spellings to different names, so it could have been Knights.
Well, what I did was
with.
when I looked on one of the records, I looked on a couple of the records, and they had K-N-I-G-H-T, but then they had like Knights, K-N-I-G-H-T-S, and then they had the other kids listed down under the Knights. So I'm thinking that he's saying that this is a Knights family.
Could be, or depending on what they said, could be. Because if you're looking at like a census record, a lot of them are based on how the person pronounced it, or what they thought was the spelling, or they couldn't spell, period. So that's why I'm finding different. That's how I'm finding different spellings. Like my mother's side is P-T-T-I-E-S, but it started at P-E-T-T-U-S. And some use it the P-E-T-T-I-E-S today, and some use it without the E at all. So different spellings.
Wow. Yeah, that makes a difference. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you know, because when you're putting it in there and looking at it in different records, you know, you have to actually. Oh, well, I have feedback. That's why. You have to actually, you know, put in you put in the spelling in there, and it just comes up all different ways. So. And then they abbreviate the name, some of the names as well.
And
like
some
one
use
name
middle names, some use nicknames. They use all kind of names.
I know. It is. I mean, wow. That's why I end up sitting on there for 3 and 4 hours or longer than that, because of the you know, because I'm going into one thing, and then it comes back up as somebody else, and like Abraham, they put Abe on there, ABE, you know, and they put Abraham something Knight, and then I go back and it's Abraham, and then I go back and it's something else, ABA, anyway, it's spelled different. So yeah.
Teresa?
No. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody.
Hey, Grace.
Hi. Grace and Larry. Please, we're having the brief introduction. Could you introduce yourself to the group, please? Grace, and then Trice. Gracie.
Yes, I'm Gracie Spears from Brooksville, Florida, and I've been doing this for about a month. And I'm trying to find my dad's side, which I don't know, and my mom. Some of her relatives on her side. So
what have you found?
Well, with the help of Teresa and Walter, I have found some grandparents, great grandparents, some one of my cousins I met on Ancestry. Found a whole lot of his family. Most of them are deceased, but it's leading us to what we're trying to find, which I really is supposed to come on to shed some light on what Teresa has found. And even on the dad side that was my adopted dad, we even found some information on them also. But it's working out pretty good.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Since you've joined our meetings, it's been about a month or so, or a little. Has it been beneficial to you?
Oh yes. I mean, I want to get to the point where I can go on this and do it myself. I know it'll be a long time happening, but Teresa said she's willing to help me, so she's helping me.
So you see the value of this mentorship that we have, and and from our family members, how we help each other.
Yes.
I have one other question before we get an intro from you, Teresa.
Yeah.
You asked my cousin. You asked my cousin. You asked Wandale. You asked Wandale, has he got his test? What was your motive for doing that?
Why did I ask him?
Yeah.
Because the last time we were on a meeting, he said he was getting tested. So I wanted to know if he did
it. And the crazy part about that, I had sat on that test, and this is crazy. I had that test sitting on my dresser for 2 years.
Wow.
And I had to call them to activate my number. They had me in this system. I had to call them to activate my number. Jerry, I was on the phone with Jerry that morning and had to hang up with him. And then I had to call them and had them to activate that number so that number that I had, they had sent me that test was activated, because they had deactivated the number.
How did they, why would they deactivate the number?
I don't, because I have no idea why it happened, but it didn't show in their records. But then they actually
did you ever create an account?
Yes, I did, but that's 2 years prior. But I hadn't done anything. I hadn't set my sample in.
But did you activate the test when you created the account?
No, I didn't. I just activated that recently.
Hey, Jerry, Teresa's on him, isn't she?
I'm just asking.
Okay,
Hey, Jerry, Teresa's on him, isn't she?
She on his ass.
She say she just, I'm coming to your aid, Teresa. She say she just saying.
Exactly.
I want her to stay on his ass so she don't come get on mine. Stay on his. Stay on cousin Wandale's, Teresa, because I don't want you getting on mine. I get on to stop the video.
see, I have answers for the question. See, but see, it took a while because I was going through some things with my siblings in the past 4 years, and then doing some things on my grandmother's side, because we're doing some things on my grandmother's side, and it made it kind of tough after going through the stuff I was going through with my siblings to really just step out there and want to do more. But then I had to sit back and say, this is for me, because this is not for them. This is for me.
Exactly.
See, because this is my father's side of the family, and it's not theirs.
Okay.
So then I had to. So that's why I had to get to pass all the smoke, and then take care of the business for myself.
Okay.
So that's what got me there.
Gotcha. No, I was kind of asking why did they deactivate the test? If they deactivate the test, paid for it, then why didn't they send you back your money? That's what I want.
Well, but they still had it in their system. But when I went to log in, I couldn't log in. See, okay. So they had to actually go in there, and I gave them all the numbers, and they went in there and activated that number. Okay. And they were able to do my test.
So when we gonna start building the tree?
That'll be soon.
Teresa,
built mine.
Just one minute. Teresa,
yeah.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Just a minute, Phyllis. I just want to finish this out, Phyllis. Just a minute. So, Wandale and Teresa, can Teresa help you with some of your research? Would you be agreeable if your schedule permits, Teresa, to help him?
Oh, for sure.
So if we have to exchange emails so that, we just want to keep the ball running, and usually we have a mentor, preferably someone who's really astute at that responsible to do it. So
okay,
could you work with her? Would you work with him, Teresa? Please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So coordinate that, please. Go ahead. Go ahead, Phyllis.
I was just going to ask Teresa. Is Ancestry the only
platform?
Platform.
Yes.
No. Hold on 1 minute.
Thank
please.
you. Platform that you've done, or have you done any of the other ones?
Because we were doing 1, 2, and 3, right? Something 1, 2, and 3 also. 120, 122. What 120?
Ancestry, My Heritage. 1, 2, 3, or DNA.
I'm sorry.
Family.
There. Hold on.
Okay.
I actually started doing mine, became very interested in doing it again because my husband, Eugene, both of his parents and his grandparents, his sister are all deceased. And he was in this place where he felt like he was the end of the line. And I'm like, Eugene, that is impossible, sweetheart. You have to have nieces, nephews, cousins, and out there somewhere. So I gave it to him as a birthday gift, and we actually put his DNA in, and cousins all over the place start popping up because I didn't ever want to leave here and to ever leave him by himself and feel like he did not have any family anywhere. So, and they've made some amazing connections. He has family in California also. And the thing of it is that he's from Washington, D.C., and he had cousins right here in Washington that grew up the same time he grew up, and he did not know who they were.
Amen.
Wow.
So
awesome.
It's important that we do it, not just for ourselves, but for our children and our children's children, so that we can leave a legacy with them, so that they'll know from where they've come.
Larry, thank you for that statement, Linnell. Larry, could you give us a brief introduction, where you're at, where you live, purpose of DNA, and how you're doing since we last talked, cuz?
Okay, I'm Larry Trice. I'm a DNA cousin of Jerry Moss, and we don't know where, but I'm certain it all originates in Crittenden County, Arkansas. My people are actually out of the northeastern section of Mississippi, Lee, Chickasaw, and Monroe counties, along a country road, I believe you call it Country Road 154. There's a section for a good half mile on both sides of the road. Ain't nothing but trices. That's my great-grandfather acquired a quarter parcel of land, which is 164 acres in 1880. And hey, the trices are all there. You know, very few of them have left the reservation, so to speak. The thing was, when I started this thing, and Jerry got me started in this DNA trip, I didn't even know my maternal grandmother's name. She was always Mama Do. You know, dipped snuff, chewed tobacco, could kill a fly at 8 paces, you know, with her spit, chop wood and plow as good as any man, and always carried her pistol. That's all I knew about my mother's side, other than her siblings. And now in fact, June 28th, I'll hook up with, a guy in prison that is a nephew. Well, he's the grandson of my great-grandfather's nephew that's there. And I've already hooked him up with his cousin in West Virginia. Anyway, this is just fascinating. As far as I know, on my paternal side, my great-grandfather migrated or was brought into slavery in Mississippi around 1848. And on my maternal side, my great-great-grandmother was brought down from South Carolina. Both of them are from South Carolina, which were breeding states for the the enslavers.
Don't lock it.
She came down in 1860, and I'm trying to go back to South Carolina to try to find out more information that way. Anyway, that's me. Where'd Jerry go?
Thanks, Larry. Does anybody have any questions for anyone? Larry?
Mine is similar, but Teresa set me up a family tree, so I've been getting a lot of hints. I think that's what you call them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm still a little confused. I go in and check here and there, and then I'm like, when we meet on Tuesday night, I ask her about them. She'll keep starting over with me, but I'm learning.
How's it going with Cruiser? How's it going with Cruiser? More.
We on the same call.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Wonderful.
They found out, they were on one of my meetings about a month ago. First time that Gracie was on, and Cousin Moore, he's been on, and during these introductions, she mentioned where she lived, and Cousin Moore mentioned where he lived, and he didn't hear for sure where she said it was. And I told him, and it come to find out they live in the same city.
How far apart either?
Yeah, and then they had the history, and they talked about it, and then from there, this is how it's grown. Now they're meeting each other and helping each
Yes.
other through their family and through their research. And Teresa has stepped up and helped them
Yes.
find their families through DNA. So that's what the purpose is. And to hear her say how much it means to her is priceless. And Gracie, and
Yes.
we love having you. And Teresa, thanks for all your
Yes,
your hard work.
Teresa. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes.
Go ahead, son.
Hey, this is for Larry. Larry, I love to learn. And one thing you said, I would just want you to elaborate on it and teach me personally. Mating states. States where you said that when you were, in your intro. And I'm not here to say no or I just want to learn more about it. They would tell me, brother, were there states where that's what it was about during slavery? Were there certain states that were just known for mating and reproducing, and some states weren't? What do you mean by that?
Well, it's okay. Once again, I'm going to refer to Donnice Lee's book. You have to learn the socioeconomic culture, what was going on in the area. Okay, but it's documented that Virginia, the Carolinas were breeding states. They bred Negroes. Yeah, because I believe it was in 1803, or was it 1806? The U.S. could not import slaves, so all your slaves had to be cultivated. But it was business. The slave trade was big business. Nathan Bedford Forrest made his fortune out of the slave trade. From a young man going to Africa to selling slaves domestically, But I tell you what, check out the 1871 Ku Klux Klan Act. It's the first time you will find our people being able to give testimony in a court setting, I found that fascinating. Anyway, you have to know the economics. Okay, what's a bale of cotton worth, and how much yield out of an acre of land, and then you have to know something about the boll weevil. Anyway, I'm a city slicker. I was born and raised in the city. I ain't never picked cotton, but I had to learn about cotton and the production of, because that's how our people made their money.
Thank you, Larry. Jerry, that's you're asking people who have experience, and that's a curious question, and it's no question is wrong. And this is the format to ask them. And one thing that I've learned, son, is through this format here, and definitely through my reparations preparations, which I'm going to go right into my presentations. Thanks for that that testimony, Larry, when you talk about the economics. But it's important that we read and study, just like like the pastor says, study to show yourself approved. The word, you better study to show yourself approved about Black history, because that's the only way you're gonna get it.
And that's what you've always taught me, Pop, and that's why I want to see younger Black men and women on this site learning, listening, asking questions. The answers are right here. All of you all are my encyclopedias. I ain't got to go nowhere. All I do is just ask some questions. You know, you've already been through what I'm gonna see. Why wouldn't I ask you? Why wouldn't I ask all of y'all? So that's why I appreciate this forum too. And I'm glad all y'all here, you know. Thank you. It means a lot to me, you know.
Okay, thank you, son. So I'm gonna go in.
Teresa, am I all right, Teresa? Am I all right?
You all right? You all
Good. All right. All right. Just making sure.
All right. Well, one of the things I wanted to do as part of my presentation is I wanted to go in and, like Larry was talking about the economics, I want to give a presentation on the California Reparations Task Force. The task force hired financial advisors to come up with how can you come up with a price for the atrocities that Black people had to go through. And so they want to try to qualify it. So take this in consideration. This is just an estimate, but the task force had 2 years worth of study. And I want to go through some details with you right now so that you can see from my perspective what I've gleaned, what I've gotten from that task force. And they're submitting the final task force report. And this information is available to yourselves. And then we're just going to go through a calculation so you can get an estimate of what California is going to propose to give the Black people in California who can trace their lineage to before 1900. So I'm going to give you a presentation. As a matter of fact, before I give that presentation, let's take a 5-minute break. Please take a break, and you all can talk and do whatever you have to do. And then I'll come back and give the presentation. Is that good? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Teresa.
Yes.
I won't be on Tuesday night. I won't be on.
Okay.
Because I have my community Bible class starting up that night. But I'll be the next Tuesday night.
Okay.
And I also asked my cousin. No, I didn't ask. I asked my uncle that Walter was telling you about his nephew, and I'm not sure if he want to come on or not. So I got to call my uncle back and find out, because I told him you can help him out a lot.
Is he working on a tree too?
Yeah. Yeah. So I sent some information to Walter to send to you, but I never heard anything. So I'm gonna see if I can send it to you myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teresa, what is a good way to correct mistakes in the tree if you happen to come across some mistakes that have been made or input and stuff like that?
Are you getting them from records, or are you getting them from other people's tree?
From records, and then sometimes some of it from other people's tree as well, because they have put in the wrong information and stuff like that. Yes.
Don't use the tree. Stay away from trees. I mean, unless you absolutely know that that's the correct information, try to use the records. And like I said, the names will be different. Like you said, it's night and nights, but that doesn't mean they're not the same people. Look at other information within that record to determine if that's the same person. Because they might have used it as nights previously, and you just have night. Like my friend, she's Edmund, but some people use the S, Edmonds. Some use MONDED, and some use MOUNDS. So it's different, but follow the location, follow the addresses, follow the kids' name, follow the families, and then that, that would help you determine whether it's the right family and just stay on track with that family. Abraham, you said they use Abe, that's still Abraham. Charles, they might use CHRLS, that's still Charles. Tom, THOS instead of THOMAS. So they're just different names, different spelling. They couldn't spell. It's based on, what they couldn't, and based on what they heard. So I have a cousin, he's in Florida. So he sent me a package. My last name is Benny. So I said, oh, they spelled my name Bennie. He said, I told those people it was Benny. I'm like, yeah, Benny. But that's what they heard, so that's what they wrote, and that's how they said it. So he did say Benny with the B, and that's what they heard. But yeah, it's basically tracing the records. Try to stay away from the trees unless you know the information is absolutely correct. You can always edit your information if you have. So you say you select the record and it duplicates all the kids in the tree twice. Instead of deleting them, you can always merge those names instead of deleting all that information.
Right. I've merged quite a few records together,
Okay.
With the information on it, and I'm telling you, yeah, because I have a lot of people on there, and I think they're duplicates. So I'm going through, family by family and merging, things like that.
Okay. Yeah, so stick with the record. Try to avoid the trees. Like I said, unless you know that the person has the correct information, I would always go with the record. Don't worry about the spelling because it has an S. It's most likely the same person. They could be spelled NIGTH and still be the same night.
Right,
It's just
exactly.
based on how they spelled it.
Right, because that's what I found out, because it had nights and then it had all the kids down there with the same, the same name under night and nights.
Yep, same person.
So I knew they.
It's the same person, then it would be the same.
Yes, it's the same person. Yes. So but then I'm finding a lot of times they put a lot of birthdays in there. I mean, years that they were born in there. They have like 1903 and 1905. Then they have 1908, and then they go back to 1901, and and I'm like, okay.
Does it say
so you gotta go
ABT before it? Is it ABT prior to the date?
I'm saying, sorry.
Does it read ABT prior to the date?
No, it didn't.
Well, a lot of people didn't know when they were born, so they guessed.
You mean back then? In that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They didn't know when but like my grandfather, we found it. Well, second great grandfather. He has one daughter living, and they said his birthday was February 28th, 1897. And they found a record that his birthday was January. It's not February. She said, well, why did we always celebrate February? Because that's probably when he thought his birthday was. They don't know their birthday. It's a guess.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. So, okay. So you've been a historian for a minute?
I've been researching since 2013.
Oh, okay. Wow.
In that 10 years, you learned a lot in those 10 years.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I know Jerry's been at it for a while. He's been trying to get me involved. I say, I had other things going on, but I got to do this for myself and for my children too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that get lost because there's a lot of things that just never get told in family, because family keeps a lot of secrets.
Yeah.
Oh.
They don't tell anything, because
it swept so much
I don't even know
under
what
the rug.
Huh?
It swept so much under the rug back then. They wouldn't tell you anything.
It's the skeletons, see, but we're left trying to find information that we don't know about, and we just never had the privilege of knowing about it. See, so as I say, I didn't meet Jerry until I was 24 years old before I found out I had another side of the family.
Mhm.
And see, cousin Wandell, this is why people need to stop with all these secrets. Now, here I am moving around in the same city. You got a daughter. She just a little a couple of years younger than me.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
You stay away from her.
I'm just saying. But if I don't know what I don't know, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
I do.
So it's like, this is why one reason why we do need to be open and let everybody know who everybody is.
But see, we're trying to do this, but the people before us, they're the ones kept the secret.
Right. That's right.
You know, and you don't realize how many secrets they kept until you start finding out information. Then you say, "Dang,
yeah,
you know, all of this and all of that."
I'm with you.
You know.
So it's important for your kids to get DNA tests as well. You think?
For sure. They need it because it's going to be part of their link as well. It's going to be part of their history because they got to tie into you.
It's up to them, I guess. I mean, my daughter did it, but she removed hers. It's up to them.
Okay.
Definitely the men got to get it because, out here running around and you don't know what's going on.
But some of the ladies keep secrets too,
Well, they need to go. They need to take it too. I'm with you.
They do. They do.
That's
right. I have
a
second cousin on here now, and she's trying to find her father.
Some of the ladies, they keep a lot of secrets, and this child belongs to this and that person, but she blames it on that person because that's the best for that child at that time.
Right. That's right.
And if they don't take a DNA, we experienced that in our family just recently. My brother had a son out here, lived 3 blocks away from him, maybe about 4 blocks at tops, all his life, and he did not know he had a son, and he just came around. How old is he, Linnell?
62.
Oh, 62?
60.
Wow.
And we just met him last year, and he's our oldest brother's son. And we just linked them together through DNA, and that's how he found out. He did his DNA looking for his mother's people, and he found his biological father.
Yeah. Well, but there's a lot of that. You know what I mean? It's the secret because that happened to a friend of mine. He found out that he had a daughter. He didn't find out that the daughter was 25 years old, yet he had another daughter. He thought he only had 2 daughters. He ended up having 3 daughters. And she was older than the oldest daughter. He just didn't know till she was 25 years old when she trying to find out who her father was.
All right, y'all, let's find out how much money we gonna get. Y'all talk about how much.
Jerry, we was having a good conversation now. Here you go. Oh, man.
Get on him, Teresa. Get on him.
You're on a roll, Jerry.
Get on his ass.
Yeah, that's a lot of testimonies. All right, well, look, I'm gonna give a presentation on an estimate that the California Reparations Task Force, they submitted on their final report, and it's based off of the atrocities that the Black people had to endure. So I'm gonna go through some steps, and I recommend that I sent the link. I recommend that each of you do the same because you have relatives who live in California, and it's for the Black Americans and their descendants. There is a cash value that they're estimating now. It's an estimate, and it hasn't been approved, but you got to start somewhere. And I'm gonna give you an example of the process that they're using. That you're gonna have to submit your claim to the California Americans Freedmen's Bureau. And Jerry, you heard me earlier talking to Eddie about the Freedmen's Bureau. California is having one and they're basing it off of the Indians. You know, they have a agency of their own, making their own claims and all that. Well, in California, they're proposing to have a separate agency that's going to take claims, distribute funds, and also distribute benefits underneath this umbrella. So I'm gonna share it with you on my screen. Let's see, there we are there. I got somebody else who wants to come in real quick. Let me let them in. Who's Omega? Do y'all know Omega Bird?
That's my daughter,
Okay.
and she's a young girl.
Okay. Okay. Phyllis, would you introduce her and ask
Yes.
her for her brief intro, please? Hi, cousin Omega.
Hi.
Go ahead, Phyllis.
This is a Omega Nightbird. This is my oldest daughter. She's married to Bobby, Bobby Bird. Is he around? No? He's in the room? Okay.
Singer.
And that's, I don't know. Okay, go ahead. Introduce yourself, hon.
I'm Omega Bird.
Where do you live, Omega? Where you live?
I live in Bryans Road, Maryland.
Okay.
I am 53, 52.
You gotta reveal all that, Jerry.
It's okay. It's okay.
There's some restrictions on this, Jerry.
You're right.
How long you been researching? Have you been researching?
A little with my mom, but
that's all information we want to know. Jerry just sitting back, letting you expose yourself. Don't do it.
Okay.
For real.
She
He
said,
ain't
"Don't
said
do
a
it.
word.
Don't do
He ain't
it."
said a word. He went to tell us where she went to kindergarten and everything, and he just sitting back there
Oh,
just
my
told
goodness.
be quiet. And said
Well,
nothing.
hey,
Thanks, Doc.
thank you, cuz. And this is we're glad to have you here, and we just pray that you learn the journey. We are relatives, and I use the term DNA relatives. Just because I never knew you before we had DNA, which really makes us cousins, nephews, aunties, great nieces, great nephews. Ancestry, just so you know, when you get your results, they limit everything to cousins. And they'll say first or second cousin, second or third cousin, fourth or sixth cousin, fifth through eighth cousin. They do that to protect themselves. They don't give you specific information. Remember that, Omega, when you start doing research. And when you start matching people, there are certain numbers, central organs, DNA, those numbers will start telling you about how you are related to that person, how close you are. And then what you'll have to do is do some research. You do some discernment. You'll have to do some communications and talk to people. It might not be a first cousin. It might be a nephew. It might be a great niece, a great nephew of your brother or your sister. It might be an auntie. They don't, Ancestry and none of these other places, they don't give you exact, they do tell you some of them are like brothers, half brothers, they give you some of the information, but other information you have to do research, work with people like Teresa and more experienced people to discern exactly who that person is. Do you understand that?
Yes. Yes.
So let me share my screen. Let's do some calculating here. See, where is this at? Start over here. Can you all see this? Let me bring it over here where I can see it. Can you see this document? Can you see it, this document
Yes.
clear? All right.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. All right. There's a 34-page document,
Wow.
and this is part of the final report that the California Reparations Task Force meeting group had came up with some answers. They wanted to get some kind of figures on the atrocities. How do you pay the people? That's all people. How much I get? How much I'm eligible for? Well, we got to do some calculations now. So those who have a calculator, get your calculator out, because we're going to go on your phones or what have you. We're going to do some calculations. So
Phone here.
yeah, get your calculator. So the first one, and please interrupt me. If you need a question, please ask, stop me. I want to make sure you get the points, and it'll help me because on the presentation, it'll help me too. Wandale and Jerry, please pay special attention to this presentation.
Got it.
I sent this link, get this link, and then it's part 4, chapter 17. This is the final recommendations of the task force regarding calculations of losses to Black American descendants of chattel enslaved person or descendants of free Black person living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century, and forms of compensation and restitution. And so that's Jerry, what Larry was telling you, that's what chattel slavery is. They started after a period of time, they were no longer able to import slaves. So what they did, they started treating our people like animals and started breeding them. That's the chattel. That's what that means.
Got it.
So notice how they start this document. It starts off with Dr. Martin Luther King, his statement. There are those who feel that if the Negro is to rise out of poverty, if the Negro is to rise out of slum conditions, if he is to rise out of discrimination and segregation, he must do it all by himself. But they never stop to realize the debt that they owe a people who were kept in slavery for 244 years. In 1863, the Negro was told that he was free as a report of the Emancipation Proclamation being signed by Abraham Lincoln. But he was not given any land to make that freedom meaningful. It was something like keeping a person in prison for a number of years and suddenly discovering that that person is not guilty of a crime for which he was convicted. And you don't give him any money to go get some clothes to put on his back or to get on his feet again in life. And that's what happened after slavery was abolished. They didn't give us anything. You know what? They paid the slaveholders $300 per slave that they had. They paid the slaveholders. They didn't give our people anything. And that's by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the introduction. It talks about the task force was charged with calculating a form of compensation to African Americans. Okay, so that's what the task force was charged with. We're going to go down a little further. We're going to go to the numbers now. Particular reparations, compensation, and restitution. This report details harms visited upon African Americans broadly, and specifically African Americans living in California since the state's founding. So let's keep going. Cumulative compensation. The task force defines cumulative compensation as monetary payment owed to Black American descendants of chattel slavery persons or descendants of them living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century. Members of the eligible class defined by the task force to remedy, they want to remedy the full history of harm and documented in this report. And so that's what they're doing. And to qualify, you have to be able to identify your relatives who were enslaved anywhere in the United States now before 1900. And you live here in California. You just had to be able to document that. So are y'all clear on that? Is everybody clear on that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So here's the key questions for calculations of the cumulative compensation. To develop a model for calculating collective compensation, the task force economic experts posed four main questions before calculating the amount of the closest to African Americans caused by California state policies, which were relevant and held by the state. Even though California wasn't a slave state because they came in after slavery, they still had Jim Crow laws, they still had redlining, they still discriminated against people for prisons, health disparities. So that's what they asked these experts to calculate, give us some kind of figure. So let's go on down here. These are the items that they used. Health harms, 1850 to present. Housing discrimination, 1933 to 1977, or 1850 to present. You know, that housing discrimination, that's redlining. When they redlined, and they had to get some kind of years. And so they got the years between 1933 and 1977. Mass incarcerated over policing, 1971 to present. Unjust property takings, 1850 to present. That's when they came through with freeways and took the people's land through intimate domain. They also did this Bruce Beach. You heard that about it in California. They took a beach, Manhattan Beach, and they gave it back to them through intimate domain, but they gave them back to them about a year or so ago. And here's another one: devaluation of African American businesses, 1850 to the present. Now, these are the things that these economic advisors, they were able to get a price on them. So now we're going to calculate from these items the atrocities and come up with some figures. Any questions so far?
Yep.
So there's the five: health, incarceration, discrimination. You know, a certain amount, let's see, there was like 13% to 15% of Californians in California are African American, but 35% are incarcerated. Not good.
Mm-hmm.
Over policing, and we had to take the brunt of the incarceration, and they wasn't paying them for when they were in there doing work. That was forced labor.
Slave labor is what it
Yeah.
was.
Yes,
That's all it was. That's another prison's another form of slavery.
Mhm.
okay. Let's go with the first one. Health harms. That's this called atrocity number one. Take an individual's value. Here's what they estimated: the value of life, $10 million, divided by the white non-Hispanic life expectancy in California, 78 years, obtain the value of each year of life absent racial discrimination, 127,000. The experts then calculated the difference of life expectancy between Black, non-Hispanic, and white non-Hispanics it's the difference of 7.6 years. And the expert then multiplied and came up with some more information. And the annual value for the time an eligible individual resides in California is thus that figure there, it equates to $966,000. That's a life expectancy of 71 years old. If somebody who lived their entire life in California, 71 years of non-Hispanic and African, the total would be $966,000. So what they did is they divided it, 966,000 by 71 equals $13,619. So what I did is $13,619 times how many years have you lived in California? Multiply that. On mine, it came out, I've been in California for 41 years. That came out to a figure of $558,379. So that's for atrocity number one. Were you able to follow the math on that?
Yeah, 926,000 for me. I've been in California since I was 68 years.
Okay, okay, times the 13,619.
Yes, 926.
Good. Okay, atrocity number two. Mass incarceration, overpricing of African Americans. During the federal and state governments, they long targeted African Americans for discrimination and arrest and incarceration. So that's an example of all these different things: stolen labor. They were forced to provide unpaid labor to the state. The expert also added compensation for loss of freedom comparable to the reparations payment provided to Japanese Americans incarcerated in World War II. Through these methods, the task force experts calculated, look at this, $159,000 and $792 per year lost to disproportionate mass incarceration and over policing of African Americans during the war on drugs. So during the war on drugs, they really cracked down. So that's that figure, 159,792. Let's do that. Times how many years have you times how many years have you been here?
Wow.
Mine's times 41 years. That equals 96,408. That's for atrocity number 2. Okay?
Wow.
That's only for 2020 though?
No, every year. It's look at this, 159,792 per year.
Yeah, but it says in 2020.
Yeah, in $2020, the value in dollars. 2020 is a cutoff date that they're doing the calculations from when it started. They stopped at 2020 because that's when Governor Newsom signed the bill.
Okay.
So that's why it's 20. But no, that's per year. So you have to add this 159.
So you multiplying the 159, 70, 92 for how many years you've been here on Earth?
No, but how many years
California.
you lived in
California?
How many years you lived in California?
In California.
Oh, me none.
So that's
I don't even know what
another.
California look like.
So that's another figure. Got that?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. That's atrocity number 2. I don't hear you, Jerry. I don't hear you down there, Jerry.
Say what?
I don't hear you.
Say what?
He looked at your calculations.
Hey, I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna put all this money. And I feel sorry for all y'all who don't live in California. I'll share something with y'all now. Hey,
That's what I was going to say. Don't forget your cousins, your
hey,
distant cousins.
I got you
Your
covered,
DNA.
Miss Taylor. Miss Taylor, I got you. And that handsome husband of yours over there eating all my chips. I got you. I got you.
Yeah, don't forget your DNA cousins and DNA relatives.
It's gonna start somewhere, trust me.
Oh yeah.
And then when it happens, then it's gonna go from state to state to state to state. We just pray to California. We usually do things first. You know what I'm saying? We take care of the women. No, let me shut up. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, son. So I regress. Atrocity number 2. Here's the figure. It's 2 instead of the 159 times the 41. It's the 2,352 for each year of residency in California during the years 1971 through 2020. So that figure is 2,352 times the 41, not the 159, Wandale.
So it's from 1971 to the current time.
2020.
Yeah, because in 1971, that's when they had the war on drugs, and they were really heavy-handed.
Okay.
So it's from 1971 until 2020. Subtract that amount. Here it is right here. That's a 49-year period. So 49 times that 2,352. And mine
still 115,000.
Right. Mine was 96. All right. Now let's go down.
Okay.
That's number 2. Now let's go down to number 3. Okay, atrocity number 3, housing discrimination. Housing segregation, federal and state officials discriminated against African Americans throughout California. From the beginnings of the state's founding, individuals in the housing market were discriminated against. Buyers, renters, zoning laws, everything. As a result, in 2019, the year before the task force was established, African American control less than the average per capita housing wealth than the white Californians. So they came up with a figure for that. As I go down, we'll get to the other things. They got these charts. Look at that. They're going through some different methods. One of the methods they use, estimating financial losses due to all forms of discrimination until the present, and came up with a figure. And the other one, they came up with another figure for capital year. And here's what that came up to. Method number 2, estimated financial losses due to redlining. So that's the one that's the one that I used, was the one for atrocity number 3 for redlining. And they have the different costs. You see that. As far as the numbers, and I'll come up with a bottom line figure for you. They're taking the different differences. You see, they got all the calculations. And they're still, the California home ownership gap in 1980 amounted to 20% percentage points, with 40.6% of Black homes being owned or occupied, and 60% of white homes being owner occupied. And so they did the average on those and came up with a figure. Come back down here. They're still doing their calculations. All this is calculating. And here's the figure. African American, non-Hispanic Californian residents who lived in the state in 2020 were eligible. Each would receive housing reparations up to $148,000, or $3,336 for each year between 1933 and 1977, spent as a resident of California. So you see how they're specializing it? They're having something for the people, the housing discrimination. But my figure came out to be $145,847. They're doing all these different rates, and it comes up with the different things. And so that's what mine came up to be. So which leads us to the fourth atrocity, unjust property takings.
Hey, Jerry, got a question right quick.
Yes.
Going back to that last one.
Yes.
In their calculations that they were doing. Okay, so between the years of 1933 and 1977, so they were allowing $3,366 a year in between those particular times.
Yes. Not until that one there, it priced between that's when the redlining was in effect. So if you, anytime between those times to 1977, add that figure times this here 3,000. And they would receive housing up to this here 148,000. You see, up to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm saying, like, because in this range right here, is it, does it matter? Does it matter your age in this year, in these years here? You have to be a certain
No.
age to be able to qualify for that?
No,
figures in
you just have to be living it. You have to be living in California.
Oh, okay.
From any time between 1933 and 1977, multiply that by this year 3,000. That 3,000.
3366.
Right.
Okay. And that's like 22 years for me. Okay.
Divided by that. And they have, and then people were asking, what about the homeless? How are we going to deal with the homeless? Can they find out where they were? How can they get their information? Well, the Freedmen's Bureau, they're going to be working with the homeless. They're going to go in and get records with them and help them find their family, and they're going to try to find some kind of way of recognizing how long they've been involved. Because you see, here it is, a note on the homeless, and you can go through that report.
Okay. Okay.
And then the fourth atrocity, here it is, unjust property. They talk about how housing desegregation, they built cities over the homes of Black people, and they took highways, made parks, and all that. And so they go through all the details for that. They took property sold, poverty, lost value of businesses, adverse outcomes. And, you know, they're talking about how they took Hollywood, Fillmore District. They went to Haywood. You know, they talked about that. Interstate 105, it came through where the Dodgers play at, one of the freeways. Here's Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill was owned by Black people, and they went through Sugar Hill. That's over by you, Jerry. And so they came up with a figure. They came up with a figure for that one too.
Wow.
The calculation for unjust property takings. I don't have that one right in front of me, but you can read this to come up with a figure for that. And then the final one is the atrocity for a devaluation of businesses, of African-American business. And with that one, it comes up, they do a discussion on that and go into businesses, discrimination policy resulting in a devaluation of African-American businesses, business from results, a combination of factors that demand for business. So they discriminated against us from Jump Street about our business. And so based on these harms, they recommend a certain figure for that. So they have the text, documentation, and look at these calculations. You see this? See that calculation? That's something there. So that's why I'm saying, you know, you got to be pretty astute and have your head on the, you know, you got to be pretty sober before you read this thing. And you got to be able to come up with some figures. And so what it came up to is this. On a per capita basis, using the African-American population of 220, it would amount to roughly 77,000 per African-American in California. So you can add that figure to it, 77,000. You see that? For these atrocities about business. And then they had other harms that they couldn't have a figure on. They're still working on that because of the timeline. But with that in mind, in closing, I'll say this. The California reparations estimate for myself is $913,400, an estimate based off of this study. And that applies to my wife, that same figure, because she's been here the same amount of time that I have. And then my children, Jerry, Bridget, Donnell, they have to use these figures and multiply it times the years, they've been here the same years that I have been. And so some of these things apply to them and some of them don't, and then they can come up with their figures. So it's for me and my descendants, you see? And then it's from my descendants and their descendants that live here. So that's why it's important that we get on our job and get qualified, enter these figures in so you can have some kind of idea. So the way I have it here, for my wife and me, there's a total of $1,826,800. That's what the cash value that, based off of this calculation, is just an estimate now that they have in California. That's for both of us. And what they're going to do is, since we're older, when they do hand out the cash, they're going to give the cash to the older people first. Whatever monies they have, they're going to give the cash to the older people first because they're older. They don't need, I'm just saying, the other benefits that they're going to have, housing, education, and all that. But the task force said, hey, when they do distribute the money, they want to give the cash to the older people first. So that's my presentation, and I'm being as transparent as I can interpret it to you. And please share this with any family members that you have in California. There's this calculations that I sent in my meeting minutes. Get your own. And my component is, to make sure that you're qualified through your DNA, that you can actually show them a piece of paper. I can document the lineage of my family before 1900. Here they are. So that's the first criteria. You can't get anything until you can do that. And that's where the DNA comes in. And then the rest, is, okay, well, how much? You're going to hear it. They're going to talk a lot about how much. So I'm just giving you an estimate. Whether it happens or not, it goes through the legislature. But I'm optimistic. See, I'm a realist. I deal with the realities and I'm optimistic. So the combination of the two. See, they always say what they don't have. What people don't have. But see, God has it all. If you depend on people to give you something, you won't get very much. But God has it all. You got to have faith and be prepared for when that opportunity comes, you're ready. So that's what I want you all to do, is be ready. Whether it's here, we start here in California, but they're going to go all across the country. And there are other people who are doing it now. So just get prepared. Talk to your people in California. And then, because it's going to come down to a battle, they're going to be saying, we ain't going to give y'all niggas nothing. Well, that's bullshit. That dog don't hunt. You're going to have to deal with us. See, I'm going to speak up for my ancestors. I'm going to speak up for my son and my grandkids. And hey, I had to deal with these folks. You know what I'm saying? So now here's where we're at. So it's gonna be a battle. So I gotta sharpen my shit. I gotta sharpen my shit. I gotta be ready for battle. I gotta sharpen.
They're pulling it out.
I gotta be ready.
That's it.
You know.
Yep.
But you know, you wanna know my most powerful weapon that I have for them? And all of you, here's what it is. It's my sword. My
You got your Bible there.
Amen.
That's it. That's the weapon we're gonna use. When it all comes down to it, we're gonna use it.
Mm-hmm.
When I go visit my son Jerry, he has his and in a convenient location where I can read it. And that's mine. And God has it all. We just don't get discouraged. I might not be here when it comes, this token reparations. But I believe that we're gonna get, you know what, we're gonna get what we're gonna get what they're gonna return what they took to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna return what they took. We're gonna hold them accountable. You know, you gotta have the eye of the tiger. You can have somebody sit up here and make, you know, what they've done to us and what they did to my great grandparents, my ancestors, the women, like you're looking at that, Jerry, the chattel, how they did our women, how they did our men. And then we sit up here like some, you know, looking at TV, the news and shit, and don't have our stuff together when these politicians start making these decisions. I'm always talking to my children, my kids. Either you're gonna be at the table when these folks start making these decisions, or you're gonna be the meal.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be the meal.
Yeah.
So I get right there with them. I suit up, boot up, whatever's necessary. I sharpen my skills. I'm gonna be right there with them. No, they don't want us. They don't want us to be where we're at. Look at us now. And I'll close with this here, because there's no reparations that they can give me that is more invaluable than seeing your faces, what you've given me as participating and being here as my cousins. It's priceless. They separated us, but through the good Lord, God, and us having our brains enough and using this technology, we're bringing our families back. You know why? Because the truth can't be hidden.
Right.
Can't be hidden.
No, that's the truth.
And each of you are visual proof of it. And I love each and every one of you. And I just pray that you be a light to your family, and you know, just keep doing what you're doing, because nothing's promised from one day to the next. Just humble yourself, be a light to others, be generous and kind, and share this information that I've given you. You know, I don't have the details, I don't have it all down, but I'm pretty sharp. You know, I'm pretty sharp. God bless me with
You want it.
He blessed me with some tools, you know, and I'm thankful to have them. So let's continue what we're doing as a family, and let's go through some closing comments, and then, you know, we can finish our day off. And again, I love each and every one of you. You mean so much to me. We'll have a little bit more time to talk personally, but this has been a great journey. We'll start with Jerry, Omega, Teresa, Gracie, and then Wandale.
Beautiful day. Beautiful meeting. It's good seeing everybody. Miss Taylor, her sister, Yeah, can't do nothing without each other. I love that. Miss Gracie, she don't play, you know, down there in Miami. Miss Teresa, yeah, I see you got you listening. She listening. I appreciate you. You know, you can help everybody. You get everybody involved, get them going on the right track. And Miss Omega, it's beautiful meeting you. Love that smile. Man, you just make me happy. Just seeing you, you know, and I can't wait to see you next time. I'll close with this. Times are they're crazy. The people are telling us exactly what they want to do, exactly how they want it done. They ain't hiding no more. They don't like blacks. They saying I don't like blacks. They don't like gays. They telling you they don't like gays. You don't like the black history. We telling you we don't like black history. See, there's not a whole lot of you got to go through the puzzle, try to figure things out. They telling us, here's where we are, here's who we are, and here's what we gonna do. We got the playbook. Now we got to come out. We got to fight. How can we fight? We got to vote. We got to get them out. We got to get them out. Only way we can get them out is to vote.
Yeah, vote them out.
Yes.
They letting us know who they are.
Yes.
What more do we need? What else do we need to see? Literally. What else do we need to see as black people? They telling us now. So I want to close with talk to your friends, talk to your family, fight, vote, get these crazy people out of the way. That's the only way we're going to get them out of the way. That's it. And then, and that's it. That's it. I'm good. Thanks, Bob. Thanks for holding that meeting down. It was beautiful. Like I said, can't wait to see you again. Thank you all for coming. Omega, that smile. Teresa, you didn't get on my ass. You stayed on Wandale's. It's all great.
Right, Dave, we're going over. Okay,
and potato chip.
Omega, your turn.
I'm through.
Omega, then Teresa.
Well, it was good information to learn, and it was nice meeting everyone.
You as well.
And everybody have a blessed evening.
Thank you so much. We'll get a chance to talk some more. Teresa, please.
Great meeting, and nice meeting, excuse me, the three new people, Omega, Linnell, and
Phyllis.
What's your name?
Phyllis.
Nice to meet you, and looking forward to getting Wandale started on his tree so he can show off for the next meeting.
I got your number too, so I want you to know that I got your number and your email, so I will be contacting you.
Yeah, we gonna work. Don't be scared.
For sure. Oh yeah, I know. Look, I look at the sincerity in your face. I know it's coming.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Teresa. Gracie.
Yes, sir. I missed some of the meeting, but I enjoyed the part that I heard. Yes, I thank everyone that I met. I don't know everyone as of now, but I will get to know you as long as you're on this Zoom with us. I'll get to know you. Thank God for the information that we received this evening, because I didn't know any of that stuff. So that's something to really check into myself, you know. Thank you, Jerry, for that information. May God bless you all. And Hope to see you next time.
Cousin Gracie, thanks for those kind words. I want to ask you a question. Because I
Yes.
want, because I got to be clear. Was the information, did I explain it where you could understand it to some degree? Because this is my first time going over it to my family members.
Yes.
Did I explain what I?
You explained it quite well. I understand. But first, I didn't when I asked about the whatever it was. But then I listened. So I just listened. That you explained it, and yes, I understood it. Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. Just for your feedback with the numbers and the purpose, and you know this journey that I've been on. For me to make this presentation, give me your evaluation from your perspective, please.
It was highly effective. I didn't know quite how you were gonna be able to do it, to be honest with you, because no one's talking about this,
No.
and in detail. And the fact that you came and you had scripture, you had it and you just ran it down, and you said, "Here's what it is." So you weren't just talking out the side of your mouth. You said, "Here's what they're saying. Here's how they're detailing this. Here is how they come up with this amount." And then you move to the next one. And then you have the verbiage behind you. You see, so people start seeing what you're saying, and then they're reading the verbiage too, and they're like, this is really real. Anytime you start talking about reparations, you think black folks like, they ain't taking us seriously. We ain't gonna get nothing. They ain't gonna. But you start seeing this here lineage of text, and you're like, well, it's serious. Maybe it is true. Maybe we might be able to do something. Maybe we might get something. And so then when you detailed it, and then you went from that one, then you went from that one, and then I thought the whole thing was, not because you're my father, but I thought it was masterful, because I don't know nobody else out here who's talking about this. We need to be compensated. We need to be taken care of as black people. We've been through too much. I want some money. I want some land.
Hey, Jerry, when you mentioned land, let me tell you what the task force is doing about the land. One of the components of that. What's happening in California, they're going to be closing four prisons in the very near future. And that's what the task force is asking for, to convert that land, give the Black Americans that land, some of that as a seed to start some
of the state prisons.
Yeah, and that's what they're talking about. So thanks for bringing that up, Jerry. That's why I was asking. Wandale, go ahead.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, as usual, Jerry, you bring the subject, you bring the information to us, and it's something for us all to keep our eyes on and ears open for, because through these meetings, and this is what I encourage other families to do, is to do their DNA, start their family trees, and really trace their ancestries, because we don't know what's going to happen down the line. They've been talking about reparations and things forever. And if white folks had their way, they would erase Black history, but they can't. There's too much history that we're involved with, not just slavery, but through the things that Blacks have invented, that everybody has been able to take advantage of. But through these meetings, you open our eyes up to the possibilities. It might not be in our time, but for our children, our grandchildren, and just to meet the people, the relatives here We're all looking for the same thing, to know who we are and where we came from. And this is the platform right here. And everybody's family should use it and do the same.
Yeah, because as a follow-up on that, Cousin Rondell, when I did my research, again, through slavery, one of the first things after slavery, one of the first things that the Black people did when they were freed, they did all they could to try to reconstruct their family. They first went to the plantations next door. They was trying to reconstruct their family. The folks is, after getting torn up in the war, it took them 12 years to reconstruct their family. That's called a period of reconstruction. But us, we still reconstructing our family. And the way we're doing it, what God has given us, He's given us DNA.
Oh, for sure.
And so let's use this DNA to reconstruct our families and have these meetings and the rest. I had no reparations wasn't even on the table when I started this. But look what's happened in a couple of years. You know, I've lived long enough to see this. Now they're talking some reparations. Now all this work that we've done, this is part of our, this is part of the harvest. See, God has a plan. We just got to give him something to work with. But thank you, Cousin Wandale.
Oh, for sure.
Linnell, and then Phyllis. Yes.
Thank you for all the information, and I'm sitting here listening in awe because we have been talking about it among ourselves, because we have another person, which is, like I said, the young man that is my oldest brother's son, that does a lot of researching and stuff, and he was telling us about the monies and the reparations and stuff in this area, in our area, in the Washington, D.C. area, in the Virginia area. So it's amazing how God is just bringing it back, and always remind me that the chickens have come home to roost. And what they never thought we would ever find out, they made a mistake and allowed us just to peep in and give us a curiosity. And we're saying, oh, really? I'm sure that when they decided, oh, they were going to let you start taking DNA or whatever, that they never expected people like you, Cousin Jerry, to step up and say, okay, now you've opened this door and we're going to walk through it. And the chickens have come home to roost. And it's not like we're asking for anything that we shouldn't have had, because our ancestors have laid down their lives and worked their plantations and did all of that stuff. So I'm just blessed. And I'm going to help my sister. What has encouraged me to do is to push her and to get on board with her even more, to find out, about our family and make the connections between you and us, because you definitely show up on my DNA and hers as cousins. So we're linked somewhere. So we're going to find out where. And Gracie, I'm coming to Florida, and we're taking a vacation there in August.
Okay.
August 1st. And what'd you say, honey? In August and September. And I will get in contact with you, because we will make the drive from Orlando down to where you are, just to be able to.
It's not very far. Not very far.
Because
where are you?
To me,
I'm in Brooksville, Hernando County.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll find you.
Okay.
What it's going to do good for me just to touch you,
Yes.
just to make that physical touch, to know this is us. And
Yes.
we're still here.
I'm waiting.
We're still here.
I'm waiting on Teresa too, because she coming to Florida also.
You coming, Cousin Teresa?
Well, Gracie, when I come, you better get them alligators off of me. I like to catch bluegills and little cats and stuff. I don't need all this other stuff all over the place now. Keep them off of me. I don't want no water moccasins. I don't want none of that.
I don't want any of that myself.
And I had something to eat though at the end of the day. Get the potatoes.
I like the fish now.
Keep them off of me.
Go ahead, Phyllis. Phyllis, closing remarks, Phyllis.
I just want to say thank you to everyone, because I did learn a lot. And again, like she said, I will get with her and we'll dig in deep, because I'll be sending her stuff I'll be faxing it and sending her stuff. Did you see this record? Did you see that record? So that she could get, to know what the heritage is, and, just try to get the correct information. But I do appreciate you offering me to be on the site.
Yes.
And I just learned so much. So thank you.
Well,
Appreciate
thank you, sisters, and your daughter. Did you see that? Yeah, that to connect like that, and for you women to step up, because you are really stepping up. The women are stepping up.
Always.
The men are positive, they winners, but the women are incredible. And I appreciate all your efforts. So everyone, it's all good, it's all God. Until we meet again, huh?
Sounds good. All right, Teresa, I'll be getting in contact with you too this week.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Do it
Plus,
on
Thank you.
Tuesday on the calendar.
Thank
all
you,
right.
guys.
All right, everybody take
Okay.
care. Have a nice weekend. Have a nice
You
holiday.
too.
Be blessed.
Bye-bye.
Be
Bye-bye.
safe.
Will do.
Right. Okay. Go off it. Okay.
Okay, come on. See, I'm still the last one to try to get off. Ah, it won't get off.
Well, I guess you get a chance to see the backstory. So just sit right there.
I'm just trying to get off of it and it won't let me
That's
off.
okay. Just
for
sit
some reason
down
or
and
another.
just check. Just sit down and this is the backstory.
Hey,
Go
Jill,
ahead,
you know,
Uh-huh.
you know, an interesting thing is, like, we heard for years, how they didn't want us to read. And the reason they didn't want us to read or be able to have the ability to read, because they wrote down everything.
You're right.
And the
That's
fact
good
that
you
we
said
couldn't, the fact that we couldn't read, and they never expected in their wildest dream for us to be able to read anything. But the blessing is they kept records for themselves, and the same records that are available for us to see and read.
And
To
we're
get
using
I
those
noticed
records.
on some of the DNA records, I've
No.
noticed that when I go back and look in, they went into the 4th grade, and the 5th grade is as far as a lot of them went. 6th grade was the highest grade. A lot of the men went. Then after that, I guess they must have went out into the fields or wherever.
They worked the fields.
Mm-hmm.
They worked the
And
fields.
even some of the ladies. Now I noticed my great grandfather, he was like 60 some years old. He married a young lady that was like 18 or 19 years old, and she had a whole lot of kids.
Yeah. They say they're
You know?
breeding slaves.
Huh?
Breeding slaves.
Yeah, and she had a lot of guys that was, Mm-hmm.
They really did this really, really bad. But see, the records that they kept for themselves, all these records that are in the Hall of Records and things, these are the records that is helping us find history, because it's there. And if you don't read, you can't find it.
Yeah, because in DC, we can go down in DC, and they have a building down there that we can actually go and look up your history, your family history.
Yeah.
As for your lineage and all like that. Mm-hmm. So they have a building where they keep all the records at, and you can just you sit there for hours and just go through all of that information that they have there.
Yeah. See, that's the luxury of having a Hall of Records.
Mm-hmm.
See, Hall of Records, They got everything. And for long as you can get records through the Hall of Records, and like Jerry, you did tracing through census as well, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got all that.
See, all that stuff is where we have information that's going to be available to us and for us.
Well, we're going to be, one of my next presentations is going to be giving you tools on how you can do your research. Some of the tools that they use, to platforms that are free, that you can sit at home and type in some names and go from here to here to here.
Okay.
To find your ancestors.
Because that's what I usually do. I usually go and put in a name and try and pull it up and put all as much information as I have here.
Well, here's what I recommend that you each do before you get a chance. It's called Family Search.
Family Service?
No, Family Search. Family Search. And what it is, it's the software it's the platform that Ancestry get all their information. They got $80 billion worth of records. And that Latter-day Saints, they have like about 1,500 buildings that you can go in to. And that Family Search, make you an account, and it's free, and then you can start doing your search.
Oh, okay.
Search that, and then start with yourself. You might even show up. It'll give them some hints, and then it'll start giving you information. Because Family Search got all the information, just like you said, because they got the information on us.
Oh yeah, they got the information.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. And the best thing about it is there's so much
generation, another generation, you see a name, and then you put that name in by that time, and then you get closer and closer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know I got a lot of homework to do, but to get this information, and I got to put the information in and build that tree myself, because it's necessary, because I need to connect all the dots.
Well, Phyllis, we'll be able to. Like I said, 4 through 6, we'll be able to come up pretty close to what branch.
There you go.
Yeah, what branch we're related. So you're able to find out how to disconnect now? Yes, you did. Because I could do it. But here we are, the big three.
Okay.
Okay.
Because they just.
There she's go.
Here's where we started.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Jerry and me.
Yeah, this is always informative. It's a lot to learn. There's a lot to do. But there's a lot to gain from it. I'm not even talking about monetarily. I'm talking about family-wise. Because it connects the dots, man. And just to be able to reach out. And there are people that's right here in LA, like Jerry, you down in Long Beach, and there's somebody's out there in Rialto. And, those are areas that are close. Jerry, you down San Diego, you're close. But in the United States, anything is close to me. That's how I see it. If you ain't got to travel across the water to get there, it's close.
No,
and,
well, Wandale, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, our ancestors, our second great grandparents, Sidney and Reuben Moss, and their sons are great uncles. They lived there off of 32nd Street in Los Angeles, and they were some of the first had property. They were some of the first workers at the brand new Van Nuys Hotel. Van Nuys Hotel was big.
Yeah.
Because they were porters, and they would come across the country back and forth. That's Henry, that's Luther, and Samuel. They were porters, and they lived on 32nd Street. And they bought the family. They migrated out there. They're right around you on 32nd Street.
Yeah, that's not that far. It's not that far.
That's where our descendants, when they migrated to California, that's where they lived.
Wow.
And I just named their names.
Yeah.
And they have kids, and our second great grandparents are buried right over there in Evergreen Cemetery.
Evergreen is not far.
Yeah, that's
far.
that's Reuben City. They buried over there, and that's when I came down, Jerry, and I saw them with a couple years ago down there.
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, much love.
Same to you.
Think about our ancestors and our families who have passed on, every day, but like tomorrow especially. And we'll be seeing each other soon, huh?
All right, sound good. I want to ask Jerry, you got pictures on that tree coming, man?
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
No peaches. I have got a lot of lemons. The oranges, not right
Not
yet.
yet.
Give me maybe about another 30 days.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I am gonna have.
Uh-oh.
Continuously.
Okay. College.
High-powered collard greens. You know anything about the collard greens? I'm gonna have them at my house all the time.
Yeah.
So you'll always have an excuse to come over.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my way.
I'm still working. I'm still working on how I'm gonna get this big one in, but doesn't wind up. Whenever you need greens, it's gonna be right here.
Because when I was up there, I helped do the tilling of the land and planting some with them.
Yeah.
When I was up there last week.
Yeah.
Didn't I, Jerry?
Yeah. See, now he's talking.
Yes. Yeah. Now he's talking.
He had a goddamn thing to say earlier.
Yeah. You talked about college. You didn't say nothing about Dad came up here and did the tilling of the land.
Because I knew you would do it.
Yeah.
And he did it. He did it because he came through. He got me going, with the farming spirit again, because I hadn't been in it. It's soccer and everything else in the backyard, but there's a little plot.
Oh yeah.
That we got, and a lot more people came. They did the lawn, and they knew lawn around all that. Don't fool around with that.
So, that's right.
So tomorrow I'm gonna go down there and put something down, but. Yeah.
The thing about it is to grow when you can, and take the time. That's something I'm gonna have to do, is to grow,
Yeah.
And
you can't grow nothing until you till the land, until you put the labor in, you work.
Oh, I know, man.
Talk to Jerry about that.
No, you got to dig it up, man.
Some inspiration. He's talking about planning. You got
to dig. Look, hold up, man. I had a gardening class, man, in junior high school, man. We had to dig up dirt and weeds.
This ain't fishing.
See,
this
is all the weeds and the rocks.
This is farming. This is farming.
No. What it is this first take, and I understand what it is. Everybody got they say. This is first take.
Yeah, that's right. No, you got to dig it up, man. You got to dig and get the rocks and the weeds out, man. Take. Yeah, man.
The whole, start from finish. This is what I figured out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a producer. This is first take. He can get things going, and the people get in on it, and then he jumps out. He gets on something else.
Yeah.
Jumps out. Watch first take, Molly. The people they bring on.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
This is first take, and we are right now. We're the producers.
That's good.
What we gonna do about next show?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Hey, much luck, y'all. I gotta go.
All right, take care. Enjoy the rest of the day now. All right, love y'all.
All right, love you too.
All right.